Hello, I'm the Wandering Newbie, Final Fantasy Record Keeper, though a little late this week. Speaking of this week, we have the Final Fantasy V event about Lena and Ferris. Let's get to it. So first up is the boss rush, which doesn't, like, these three fights, and actually really, I don't know. It's weird. The first three bonus fights kind of are just continuing the progression here. Because, like, Forest of Moor was the Crystals, Castle X Death was Carbuncle, and Castle X Death 3 is Gilgamesh and X Death. And, on that subject, Gilgamesh is entirely attack based. That's all you really gotta worry about with him. And oh, hello Loon, thank you for the host. After that, you have X Death, who is your standard mix of attack and magic, but his magic's really more threatening than the attack. So, let's look at the parties I've prepared. So, for this, I'm focusing... Well, okay, the main thing to note here is I'm focusing more for the X-Death fight than the Gilgamesh one. Gilgamesh can be shut down pretty easily, just with steel power and a full break, and if you can also get a Protectica on top of that, you'll be fine. X-Death is a bit more mixed, so I decided to focus Ferris on that, and also bringing Shulga. And if we can just straight up get... Oh, there's a Muddy Guard. Perfect. So we can swap Lena over to Protectica and bring Mighty Guard, and then all of our defenses are covered. Just grab a party setup real quick. Boom, there we go. Alright. Actually, the most threatening thing that Gilgamesh can do is he has a couple status effects that do actually carry over. So if he flashes the wrong people, huh? I was not expecting him to have a bunch of dialogue. Rocket Punch, I believe, still does percentile damage, so there's no real protection for that. As far as record materia goes for this set of fights, if you're like me, don't actually have much synergy weapons, your best bet is actually those axes that you can get through the draw system. And Unfortunately, we don't have an axe boosting record materia, so you have to resort to just strength ups. Though, fucking... I guess I don't really even need it. Gilgamesh is just wrecking house. Not much more is actually going to be needed, so let's just not waste our good moves. Top ourselves off for X-Death. This fight went shockingly quickly. I'm actually surprised that, because I actually had the bonus dialogue at, dialogue at the beginning, that they didn't have any extra throughout the fight. Like in, Final Fantasy V. I know they did that for Necrophobe, during the one event where he was an ultimate, or a triple plus. They actually had the sequence where Gilgamesh shows up and saves the day. And for each Final Fantasy V character that you had in your party, like canonical, oh, here we go. There you go. There's the line. We won't let you get away with it. Do you even know what I'm trying to do? No. Oh crap! This has a whole, like, the whole fucking dialogue. But yeah, for the Necrophobe fight, for each canonical FF5 character that you had, X-Death actually gave his line of dialogue for them that he gives at the end of the Necrophobe fight. Which was pretty cool. I'm actually feeling pretty confident going into this fight after the Gilgamesh one went so easily. But we'll see. We'll see. Do have to make sure to hit that that holy weakness though. And we'll just blast him with a couple Bahamets with Krill. Yeah, you know, overall the Final Fantasy V crew are all pretty solid characters. Galoof, unfortunately, being the weakest of them, just because his moveset isn't too great. But once they start introducing better and better, like, monk moves, he'll be way, way more solid. Yeah, Monk in Recordkeeper starts off, yeah, really bad, but they've gotten some outstanding moves, such as like a 2-hit damaging move that increases attack by 50%. It's gross. And we'll just have Bartz finish the fight. Yeah, there's the threatening thing. Once you get X-Death down to half health, he does actually start attacking twice. But, you know, for as good as that did him. Oh shit. I don't remember what that record materia does. I think it's probably like boosted bow damage. Alright, next up. This next fight actually has a Sid mission associated with it to use a party of all FF5 characters. Which is like, okay, challenge accepted. Shrug. The antlion is not, similar to his actual FF5 counterpart, is not all that much of a threat. Mostly physical. Has a couple status effect moves, such as one that can cause sap, and another that can do, what's the word I'm looking for here? He can actually use Discourse and lower all your stats. That's the worst that he can actually do. But he is weak to water. So we're going to bring some Spell Swords, some Water Aja, and then everything else is just sort of stacking against his physical damage. And let's see what we can find. Yeah, Apocalypse Shield. Stacks with everything and increases attack. That sounds fan-fucking-tastic. Will probably make Gilgamesh continue to hit quads with Saint's Cross. There we go. So yeah, going into this, I've already done these fights submission style anyway. So might as well continue on that path. Whoops. We want the power. Not full break. Not yet. Oh, right. No haste Aga from that roaming warrior, so let's increase the speed to 2. Not quad 9s, but pretty damn close. At this point, the fight is more or less won. There's not really all that much that, what is this thing called? Antline? There we go. I was completely having a brain fart for a second there of what this boss is even called. In fact, Bahamut probably does more damage, to be fair, even though it's not hitting weakness. Just because it hits twice. But just as easy as that, fight is done. And we can move on. Okay, now that I'm actually out of a fight, let's figure out what's going on here. If the stream is up or not. Stream is not up. Okay. Sorry about that. Yep. Okay. I can see it on my side now too. Yes, orbs are extremely important in Record Keeper. Sorry about that, that hiccup. One of these days I'll get on a wired connection. That way I don't have to deal with that. Alright, but next up, let's just keep this going. Keep moving along. We got, the Rug Wizard. So this is saying a lot about the various things that, he can do to you. Though... I'm gonna show you a little trick. Now, most of this is based off of data from websites, and I'm gonna have to believe it. But let me just bring your attention to this right here. Right here. Reflect all allies, because the majority of his stuff is single target. So, oh, don't worry, I plan to show that off. Oh, come on. I'll take the haste. I was hoping that would get the, Song of Swiftness. To make my mages even crazier. But I'll take just doing this. We are going to be extremely rude to the rug. No, the Sid mission was for the double plus. The triple plus is do as you wish. Oh, piss! I forgot the spell. It'll be fun. A brief brain fart there. So, the tactics that we are employing is we are increasing Omniscience Magic by 20%. 25? 20. I think it's 20. And then casting Reflect on everyone. And now we beat down a wizard. And he hits himself pretty hard. Yeah, so ideally, for this fight, you would actually want to bring Dispel on somebody to remove his regen, but I forgot. We'll be fine though. We'll definitely finish this fight before we run out of anything. Oh look, he slowed himself. Really, if you actually want to be extremely rude, on top of increasing his own magic, in order to make him deal more damage to himself, you could also haste him. Like, get the slow for the condition, and then haste him so that he's casting more magic on himself. I'm just gonna refresh everything. And yes, as was stated in the chat, if you do foolishly whack him with a physical attack, or one of the many things that count as physical attacks, he will reset the fight. And it does actually have, you know, I should have really shut it off at the beginning. It has a really good, he pixelizes a la the whole screen pixelizing in FF5. And the whole screen goes white. And then it just, like, everything resets. The music resets. Everybody, like, comes on screen again like it's the beginning of the fight. It's real good. Just a couple of little extra things just to make this, just like recommendations to make the fight go a little smoother. I obviously have a fire rod and a lightning rod on Rinoa and Kefka, respectively. I put my ice whip on Rydia because that's giving them like subtle boosts to their damage. Yeah, unfortunately he does have infinite MP in this game. So you cannot just mana drain him. I do like the fact that he's all single target and you can bounce everything, because that means that they made a boss that requires all mages, but you only really need one mage to win, You just need one mage and infinite time. Come on, Rydia, give me another double cast. I think his magic defense might have restored to normal. Seem to be dealing a little less, but that's the end of the fight. Oh, and he does finish the fight with Flare. Simple. Next up, though, is going to be a doozy. I'm going to step out of the event for a second in order to break and level up Krill a tiny bit. Since I will be actually using her in a couple of these fights. Dual cast Darkness. Not bad if you're using Darkness. That could be useful. Let's get her to 70. Now, I don't normally do this. Well, alright. Let's first talk about this. Melusine, Ultimate. So, you're no longer able to put her to sleep in this. She always starts out vulnerable to fire. You have to lower her magic and her resistance at some point. Huh, okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I was just ruminating on it for a moment. Anyway, sorry. Just thinking out loud. So she does her whole barrier changing, and if she is only ever vulnerable to the thing that she's weak to. Everything else she either nullifies or absorbs. So don't bring any elemental attacks, except for ones that she can never be weak to. Let's just bring up her stats real quick. Her defense and resistance are fairly high, but also equal. Except in physical weak, her defense is extremely low, but her resistance is extremely high. And she's always pretty fast. Now, as I was saying before, I don't usually do these on camera, but I was talking to my consultant for this and pointing out that I had mostly a Sid mission party, so to just go for it. So here we are. The general idea is a majority of her moves can be Magic Lord. So Gilgamesh is going to be taking the brunt of the attacks with the little magic lore here, and the all-around resistance Gigas Armlet. We're going to be hitting fire pretty much once, and then go all neutral, whatever, the rest of the fight, and see how well this works. I'm actually using 2 Synergy 5 weapons, the Power Staff and the Sage Staff, because I don't actually have this learned yet on Lana. Working on that. Ah, perfect. And I'm looking for a Shout Roaming Warrior, so we'll just take this guy. And we'll see how this goes. Now, as always, I forget to do. I need to get stats for the ultimate. This would go a bit smoother if I didn't have to lower Melusaine's resistance at all. Unfortunately, I do. So I have to bring full break. Otherwise, I could just bring Magic Breakdown on Ferris and use, like, Thief's Revenge on her. Excuse me. Get a bit more damage in. Also, to be able to self-heal. Well, luckily, Lena's heal is pretty good, so I'm hoping that'll give me the edge to pull this off. Should be noted that the main reason I'm using Krill is because I have a Synergy Staff that I wanted to use on her, and there's not many Black Mage summoners that can use staffs, so there's that. Luckily, she does always start off with physical attacks, so you don't have to worry about that immediately. And luckily, she went for my back row. I might be able to get this off before she switches. Hopefully. I really hope. Good, 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 good. Yeah, and that move, the last move that she does, each barrier change, will always be an AoE. I'm a little worried about Krill's staying power because I don't have that many. I was thinking like, hey, I guess I could maybe bring Comet since that's not elemental, but then I figured it's not going to go the distance. I think it's only going to do like 5 damage, and that's being generous. Oh hey, vulnerable to fire. I'll take it. So if you're not aware of what Princess Favor is, it is a, obviously it's an AoE heal, but also gives everybody heavy regen, which is extremely useful. Alright. Hey, boy. Here we go. It's gonna get real rude. This is gonna do like no damage, but this next full charge will finish the fight, so it doesn't really matter. That strategy, actually, this strategy, the setup, actually worked out surprisingly well. Considering how few synergy weapons I actually had. Ah, an orb. Princess's Favor just kind of sneaks on. Still learning it. Okay, so coming up next is Leviathan. Leviathan actually has this crazy mechanic that we actually saw before with Cognazzo, where it will start gathering water, and if you don't hit him 3 times, one moment. If you heal him 3 times with a lightning ability, then he uses Tidal Wave, which pierces resistance and will just, in general, destroy you. Also uses Aqua Breath as a counter to physical attacks, which is kind of rude. Magic Breakdown is, of course, really good, and should be noted that while he has... Let's look up the numbers real fast. Let's see. Tail is a 30% chance. Attack is 20%. So... let's see. 40%. 30%. So yeah. He has like a 50% chance to use physical attacks. All of his physical attacks are single target. So they can be taunt retaliated. So, we got Krill and Bartz on their Dispelling Water duty. Ferris has the Magic Breakdown and will actually be doing damage with Thief's Raid to heal herself when needed. Gilgamesh will be taunt retaliating to just be the party's tank and soak up most of the damage. And Lena's going to be healing. So let's find a Yell Boy. There's a Yell Boy. Is there a better Yell Boy? Ah. I need to scout some good Yell Boys. Some good, like, always over 200 Yell Boys. I forgot to get party stats. One of these days, while I'm explaining party setup, I will remember to get stats immediately. Sisters, 5, 6, 7. Gilgamesh will always be the head of my parties when he's in them. Just the good Riftwalker. I like to think of my my Sid mission parties that I've been doing for this as being like, this is that game. This is the game where Gilgamesh doesn't fall into the rift and instead goes on crazy adventures with the Warriors of Light. Are we good? Yes. Okay, we're good. Alright. We're gonna wait for his next action before we hit full charge, because yeah, that happens. Oof, actually I don't know if I really want to attack with Gilgamesh in this setup. Since we can get counterattacked. Oh, take an action. This fight is, with this setup, honestly, is going to be a lot of waiting and seeing what Leviathan does. Because that can happen. Also, that can occur. At least Gilgamesh is 100% putting in work up top. Uh-oh. That's a restart. Oh. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I got a bit too greedy. What, with using the full charge. I should have left Krill on standby. This strategy seems to be good though. And just like 100% solid. The only thing I can really complain about is I would want Ferris to be doing a bit more damage, but I think I can live with what she's doing. Still putting out a good 10k? Yeah, I'll live with that. Yeah, and as I said here, we're only gonna have one of them attacking at a time because of that. Ooh. It's a bit much there, Leviathan. No, counters do not exist in Record Keeper. You can't counter a counter. Yeah, those are just 2 aqua breaths in a row. And incredibly rude. Fuck. My damage wore off. Yep, that's a dead Ferris. Fuck. The counter aqua breaths are actually really brutal. You know, it only actually has a 10% chance of occurring. Speaking of which, why you gotta be so rude? There's always one thing in an ultimate fight that I'm like, if it didn't have this, I think I could do a lot better. I think that's this with the counter Aqua Breath. I feel like it's a bit much. I should maybe be running down Bartz's full charges a bit more, but I don't know, I saw the Bahamut, so I went with it. Yeah, sure, why not? I didn't even know he could do that. Oh, piss. Oh, Jesus Christ. That's not good. Alright, got it. Whew. Whew. Jesus Christ. Oh, it's gonna be really bad. Do not counter. Oh, good. Every time he uses, like, the counter, I just, like, in the back of my head, I'm just like, could you not? Fuck it, I need the damage. Perfect. Oh, this looks good. Hey, boy. Whew, that was rough. Oh, give me them orbs. Good orbs. Look at all them orbs. Whew. That was surprisingly rough. Yeah, that's a bit of an RNG fight, just for, you kind of need to not get destroyed by his, what's it called? His counters. Too many of those in a row will actually wreck you, but, like, technically odds are in your favor. No, it's mine. Since it's only a 10% chance. Anywho, that's it for this week's Final Fantasy Record Keeper. What is next week? Oh. I want to say FF9. Yes! I was right. So next week, FF9. I'll see you then.